Welcome back to Nets Republic. Am I the only one that finds it a little odd that the Brooklyn Nets get fined $100,000 for tanking, basically, and then, like, magically the next game we break a 5-game losing streak? That's just so disgustingly convenient. Like, all of a sudden, now Lonnie Walker's just magically able to go. Like, it's just so convenient. I want to know who writes this stuff, because that is just so incredibly convenient. If you don't know, and my apologies for not being able to make this its own separate video, but the Brooklyn Nets were fined $100,000 by the NBA for resting players that basically were good enough to go. I don't know if y'all remember, but the last time that we played the Milwaukee Bucks, basically everyone who's a starter, except for at the time, Cam Thomas and Mikal, because of that stupid consecutive game streak thing, rested. There was no Spencer Dinwiddie, there was no Cam Johnson, there was no Claxton. It was eyebrow-raising, to say the least. And I accused them of tanking. With some of the games that we've been losing in the manner that we've been losing them, with some of the decisions to bench individuals, and again, going back to this format of not drawing plays, and then basically not playing defense in the slightest, or even caring, or Jacques Vaughn even calling timeouts or anything of that nature, all of a sudden, after we're literally fined for tanking. I mean, that is canon. That's confirmed. That's what happened. That's what the NBA investigated. Woj tweeted about it. Shams tweeted about it. Everyone tweeted about it, trying to get to the bottom of what's going on in Brooklyn after we are literally fined for tanking. All of a sudden, we beat one of the best teams in the NBA. Now, again, I don't care what OKC is doing. I could care less. But just the fact that they are considered a top-tier team, if you will, which is crazy, but based on the records right now, again, I do believe it is giving Sacramento Kings of last year and Orlando Magic of the West, but that's not here or there. But their record is still their record, and the things that they've been able to accomplish, they have been able to accomplish and such. Now, yeah, the Hawks was beating up on them the other day, but still, I just find it just so fascinating that directly after being fined, all of a sudden the Nets are able to win games again. But that is just my personal theory. That's just not here or there. I'm just putting the pieces together, trying to present the evidence to you and not presenting them as facts. I want you to form your own conclusion. I just think it is awfully suspicious and awfully fishy that all of a sudden Jacques Vaughn wants to call timeouts when we're off to slow starts, when in the last literal 5 games, he's just been sitting on his hands and benching the only players that are able to contribute. All of a sudden, Dennis Smith Jr. is getting these monumental minutes. How fascinating. He's not on a minutes restriction like Mr. Lonnie Walker was. But isn't he coming back from injury as well? Again, it's just so fascinating to me. All of a sudden, Ben Simmons is on the bench. When did that start up again? I know it was a home game. Again, I'm just trying to put the pieces together. I just think it is so fascinating that the second they got a slap on a wrist, now there's all this organization in the Brooklyn Nets camp. It's so fascinating to me. Now, Mr. Cam Johnson has been going on, I wouldn't say a tear, no pun intended, but he has been playing well offensively and a little bit defensively, but showing shades of Chris Paul. Again, the irony is insane. It looks like perhaps he tore his hamstrings or something like that, or blew out his glute. I don't know what happened, but there was some type of strain or tear or pull with the muscles in his legs, and he was basically unable to play the final minutes of the game. He was about to limp over to the back, but, then decided he wanted to stand with the team. He was in clear pain, and for some reason we had a camera in the man's face, but there seems to be something going on there. Now, I am not so petty that I would get on here and, hit the cabbage patch over someone getting hurt, but it's just going to be very interesting to see how they handle this. Now that there is literally only one healthy Cam, I feel like if Cam Thomas is not given the starting role, again, shenanigans is afoot, but that's neither here nor there. Again, I will never prey on someone's downfall as far as their physical health. I'm not sure how there's any excuse for Cam Thomas not to start. Speaking of Cam Thomas, there was a stat that they just couldn't wait to flash in our faces of, Cam Thomas had missed 20 consecutive jump shots or whatever. And you put Cam Thomas in the game and he's just a flamethrower. It looks like he might have twisted an ankle, but then comes back and immediately contributes at the foul line. Again, Cam Thomas is magically able to hit foul shots again. I am not implying that it is a concerted effort from the entire team to tank. I am simply saying that it is oddly suspicious that the literal game, after being fined, everything is a fine tool machine. I've seen defensive effort from these individuals that I haven't seen since the literal beginning of the season. You would think they are the Tom Thibodeau Bulls, the way their defense was so intense. I just think it's very, very interesting. And I'm getting my Dwayne Johnson off. My eyebrow is raised. I'm just a little speculative, if you will. It's a little suspect, if you ask me. Again, Jacques Vaughn, debuting new hand signals and such. He's doing the CM Punk, it's clobbering time joint or whatever, in implying. And at one point, I had the game on mute because I was on the phone with the basis of my band, and we were just having a conversation about, just band stuff. And I saw Jacques Vaughn going like this, and I was like, is Jacques trying to imply that Bill Kennedy is only calling fouls on black people? Like, I wasn't quite sure what this meant because I had the game on mute, but then I, turned it on after I hung up the phone, and I heard the volume, and I was like, oh, that's go quickly. I was like, oh, okay, well, at least it's not Dame time or something like that. But that's not either there. Speaking of Dame time, I believe our next game, which should be later today, is going to be against the Blazers. So that should be an easy win. I mean, they're pretty trash from what I understand. So that should be an easy win there to get us back to our winning ways. Now, my conspiracy theories aside, there does lie. Also, Claxton's playing amazing. He's been doing that, but I just hope that he got the flowers necessary. I wasn't on, Nets World or Nets Twitter to actually see what people were saying, but I just hope he's really getting there because, God, Claxton is incredible, but that's not here there. But I believe that our next game is against the Blazers and such, which we already discussed, but I just really feel like we need to have a conversation of what do we expect from this season. We kind of had this conversation in the beginning of the year, but now that we're sort of at almost the halfway point of the year, I consider the All-Star break or the trade deadline to be the proper middle of the season, but we're almost there. I think we need to, as a community, have a conversation about what our expectations of this team are. Now, I am pretty much in the same spot that I was in the beginning of the year, to where I expect nothing, and I'm just happy to watch Nets games. That's literally where I'm at, and anything I get out of this season, I will happily take. I just like to watch Cam Thomas score, and I like to watch Claxton get blocks. So I'm just here for all that, and I can pretty much just leave it at that. I'm not really invested in anything else. I'm just watching the Claxton and Cam Thomas show, and I'm leaving it at that. I think it would be in everyone's best interest to take the same mentality personally, but you can, come to whatever conclusion you want. I am also of the thinking that I still think it would be a good idea to try to get something for Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges, if at all possible. Now, Cam Johnson is obviously hurt at the moment, so maybe his trade stock just went down. I'm not entirely sure. I just think that it is a good time while people still think that Mikal is apparently an all-star. If that is the thoughts surrounding that man currently, I think this would be a good time to flip him. A lot of y'all brought up really good points that we probably can get absolutely nothing for Ben Simmons other than a Pop-Tarts endorsement, but they might have took that away because he was putting ketchup on it. But I want some form of change, and I don't want the fact that just because the Nets organization decided not to tank for a game, that we just like alter the mission here. Like it was one game. You know, it was one game. The Thunder are on a little bit of a skid. Like I don't like literally want them to try to pretend like they weren't tanking and actually try to win a game and then successfully win a game that we know they're capable of winning regardless what the record says. And then we're just going to change our tune of, oh, it's a different type of situation. It is exactly what it just was. They were just unable to tank. Basically. But that's my thoughts on that. Let me know your thoughts down below. What did you think of the OKC game? There wasn't really anything happening in the game that I felt like was like worthy of bringing up. Like I didn't sense any tension outside of the usual because again, everyone hates us for some reason. So I don't really see like any tension going on. I still stand by Cam Thomas is better than Shai Gilgeous. And maybe I'm off, maybe I'm crazy, but he looks better than me. But that's not here nor there. Let me know your thoughts down below. And I don't have to work tomorrow, and I don't have band practice or anything, so I might actually get a video out on the day that the game is. So I might see y'all later tonight. There's no Beyonce movie. There's no Nathan. I'm doing nothing but cleaning the kitchen. So I guess I'll see you later today. Young Sam with the Bond. You're on Nets Republic. Hope y'all are doing good. And again, do not let the fact that the Nets are basically got in trouble for tanking distract you from the fact that these are still the end times. We just won a game, and we'll probably win another one, but don't let the winning distract you from what we need to be focused on. All right.